Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to learn about the population interactions. Right? So, in nature, we cannot see any in any natural habitat a single species, right? Even if you look at the plants, plants require animals for the pollination, and plants also depends upon the soil microbes. For what purpose? To break down the organic molecules and to absorb the inorganic nutrients. So, one species depends upon another species for its food purposes. So, we cannot see in any habitat a single species. Always these organisms are interacting among themselves. So, where we can see the interactions, let us see them. So the topic name is population interactions. So interactions are seen between animals, plants, and microbes. Okay, interactions are seen between the animals, plants, and microbes. All these three together form a biotic community. So interactions are seen in the biotic community, right? And the interactions are two types. See that one. The interactions are two types. Right? So what are the two types of interactions means? The first one is intraspecific interactions. Okay? And the second one is interspecific interactions. So what is meant by intraspecific interaction? Intraspecific interaction means interaction between same species. Okay, the interaction between same species. So the same species interact among themselves due to some differences among themselves. Okay, due to some differences they interact with each other. Then interspecific. Interspecific interaction is between a different species. Different species. And these interactions, let us see some of the interspecific interactions. So in the interspecific interactions, if we see, the interspecific interactions may be beneficial or detrimental. Detrimental means harmful or neutral. So the interactions might be beneficial, okay, detrimental or neutral. Okay, for beneficial interactions, we can give plus sign. It can be denoted as plus. For detrimental, it is minus. And for neutral, it is, you can denote this one as 0. Okay, so let us see what type of interspecific interactions are there. Let us see now the types of interactions. I will go for the 3 columns. Type of interaction, that is the name of interaction. Okay, then here the species A, here the species B. Okay, type of interaction, species A and species B. Then if we see the type of interaction here, the first one is mutualism. The first one is mutualism. In mutualism, species A is getting benefit, species B is also getting benefit. Okay. The second one is what we can go for the second one is competition. Okay, in competition, both of the species are getting, both of the species will lose. Third one is predation. So in predation, species A is getting benefit and species B is getting harm. And parasitism. In parasitism, one species get benefit, another species is harmed. And commensalism. In commensalism, one species is beneficial and another species is neither benefited nor harmed. Then amensalism. In amensalism, one species is getting benefit, one species is harmed and another species will get neither benefit nor harm. Right? So in the previous only I told you that, so beneficial interactions, if you see, beneficial interactions are denoted by plus. Detrimental means harmful interactions, they are denoted by minus sign. And neutral means there is no harm or beneficial, so it is denoted by 0. Now let us see what type of interactions each and everything will go, right? Right, let us see. In mutualism, both the species are getting benefited. Okay, next one. In commensalism, both the in commensalism, one species is benefited and another species is neither benefited nor harmed. Okay. So in commensalism, one is getting benefited and another one is neither getting benefited nor harmed. Now if we go for the next one, competition. In competition, both the species will lose. Then in predation and parasitism, one species is benefited and another species is harmed. Okay, so in predation and parasitism, one species is getting benefited and another species is harmed, right? Then if you see here, the predation, parasitism and commensalism, the interacting species okay. So we see here the in predation, parasitism and commensalism, the species which are interacting with each other, they live in close associations. They are living in the close associations. Remember that one. So next one, then one more thing is there, that is amensalism. In amensalism, one species is getting harmed and another species is neither getting benefit nor harm. So this is about the types of interactions. Now let us go for the next one, predation. Right, we go for the next one, predation. So predation is a type of interaction. Remember that. We cannot use the word association. It is a type of interaction. So interaction between what? Interaction between the predator and prey. So remember that. Interaction between predator and prey. Suppose imagine in an ecosystem there are large number of producers. That means there are many green trees or green plants are there. The producers are huge in number. Imagine that there are no herbivores to eat them. What will happen? These producers are growing enormously and they disturb the ecological balance. Okay, so the energy is not consumed by the consumers, so the energy is growing like that. So for that purpose, there should be some organisms to control their population. So predators, let us see the types of predation now. For example, when you think of the predator, you get in your mind only the tiger and deer, right? Let us see. So, interaction between tiger and deer. Tiger is predator, okay, and deer is prey. So what is meant by predator here? The organism which kills another organism for its food purpose is called as a predator, and the organism which is killed by another organism and eaten by it is called as prey. You understand that? So predator means which kills the organism for its food purposes. That is called as predator. The organism which was killed is called as prey. For example, you take the sparrow. Okay. Sparrow eats seeds. Then we call this one as granivore. Granivore. But ecologically, predator. Ecologically, we call this one as predator. And similarly, you take the cow eating grass. So cows are called as herbivores, but ecologically they are called as predators. Okay. So cow which is eating grass is an herbivore, but ecologically they are called as predators. Now let us see what are the benefits of predators in the nature. What the predators are doing to the ecology now. Right, we are going for the next one. Role of predators. Okay. So predators right here, the predators are acting as a pipeline for the transfer of energy. How the predators are acting as the pipeline for transfer of energy means, if you take in a nature a large tree, that means energy fixed by the green plants is transferred to higher trophic levels, right? So here the energy is transferred to this species, from this species the energy is transferred to another species. So predators are transferring the energy from producers to higher trophic levels. So they're acting as the pipeline for the transfer of energy. They're acting as the pipelines for the transfer of energy. The next one, predators control prey population. So predators control prey population. Imagine that if the predators are absent, what is happening? If the predators are absent, the prey population increase enormously. In absence of predators, remember that. In absence of predators, what is happening? Prey population increases. How the prey population is increasing? Prey population is increasing enormously. Then if the prey population increases enormously, what is going to happen? It disturbs the ecological balance. It is disturbing the ecological balance. So the predators consume them and control the prey population. Let us see one example for this one. So we are dealing with the predators controlling the prey population. Right? If we see here, in absence of predators, I told you that the prey population increases enormously and disturbs the ecological balance. For example, you take any exotic species. Exotic species means the species which are not native. They are brought from another place or they are brought from another country. So they are called as exotic species. When exotic species was introduced into the natural habitat, they become invasive and spread enormously and disturbs the ecological balance. Why? So when the exotic species are brought to a particular area, there they don't have their natural enemies, right? Exotic species are not having natural enemies in a new habitat. So the exotic species are growing enormously. For example, you take one cactus. So the prickly pear cactus. If you see this prickly pear cactus, generally it is seen in the South Africa. But in South Africa, this prickly pear cactus population of this prickly pear cactus was under control. Why? Because it is having a predator. So what is that predator means? Cactus feeding moth. Okay. In presence of cactus feeding moth, the population of this prickly pear cactus was under control in South Africa. Right, when this prickly pear cactus was introduced into Australia, in Australia, remember that this cactus feeding moth was absent. Then what happened? This prickly pear cactus spread millions of hectares. Okay, it spread millions of hectares and its population was not controlled. It is not under the control. Then when the prickly pear, the cactus feeding moth was introduced into the Australia, then the population of the prickly pear cactus came under the control. Okay, so this is very important. So in absence of natural predators, the population of the prey population increases enormously. Okay, if the natural predator is not there, a natural enemy is not there, then the prey population increases enormously. If the predator is there, then the prey population will be under control. So this is one of the example for the what we can say, predators control prey population. So very, very important thing. Right, let us go for the next one. Predators maintain species diversity. Right. So how the predators are maintaining species diversity? Remember that in presence of predators, the interspecific competition among the species will be reduced. Okay. So If the predator is absent means the interspecific competition will be more. So if the predator is present means the interspecific competition will be less. So the predators can survive. If the interspecific competition is more, then what will happen? The predators may get extincted. For example, you take the Pysaster. Pysaster is a type of starfish seen in American Pacific coast. So in an experiment, all the starfishes in an enclosed intertidal region. So all the starfishes in an enclosed intertidal region were removed. So experimental purpose, they removed all the starfishes present in an enclosed intertidal region. Within 1 year, 10 invertebrate species became extinct in that region. Due to interspecific competition. Right? So because the predator is not there, so when the natural enemy is absent, then automatically the competition among the species have been developed. So competition occurs among the species for common resources like food and shelter. So due to interspecific competition, 10 invertebrate species became extinct in that intertidal region. So predators can maintain the species diversity. In absence of predators, then definitely the species diversity will become less. So let us go for the next one. Predators are prudent. Right, next one is predators are prudent. So very important one, this one. Okay. Suppose imagine if predators over exploits the prey. So what is the meaning of over exploitation of the prey? Means if the predators are fit and they are killing all the prey at a time. That means over exploitation of the prey means they are killing all the prey at a time. Then what will happen? If the predators over exploit the prey population become extinct. Right? The prey population is becoming extinct. If the prey population is becoming extinct, what is happening? Automatically, predators also become extinct. Predators also becoming extinct. But in this case, one you have to remember that if prey become extinct, predators also become extinct. If the prey become extinct, predators also become extinct. It is true. It is true. Right? So, second one, if predators become extinct, prey become extinct. It is false. Right? If the predators are completely extinct, also the prey population can survive. But if the prey population becomes extinct, the predators will not survive. So very important statement, these two, for the NEET examination also. Right? So this complete. That's the reason why the predators are prudent. They never kill all the prey at a time. They know that If the prey population is going, if the prey population is not available, they cannot survive. So predators will selectively kill the prey. They won't kill the prey at a time. Remember that. Now let us go for the next one. Adaptations made by the organism to prevent the predation. Right. So the prey can avoid the predation. That means the preys have developed some special mechanisms to avoid the impact of predations. To avoid the impact of predation. For example, you take first one, camouflage. Camouflage means some insects and frogs are cryptically colored. Here the meaning cryptically colored or camouflage means they blend with the surrounding environment. The color of this insect, the color of the frog mixes with the surrounding environmental color so that the predator cannot identify the what? The frogs and insects. So camouflage can be seen in frog and insects. Right. The frogs and insects are cryptically colored to prevent their enemies or to prevent their predators. Right. Next one. Distasteful. Right. Generally, the birds are the predators for this monarch butterfly. But the monarch butterfly becomes distasteful. Why the monarch butterfly becomes distasteful means it has some chemical in its body. So this monarch butterfly gets that chemical during the caterpillar stage, so that the birds feel the monarch butterfly as distasteful and prevent eating them. Like that, the monarch butterfly can avoid the, what we can say, predation by the birds. Then how the plants avoid predation? If you see the plants, like animals, the plants cannot move, right? Like animals, the plants cannot move from one place to another place. So plants have developed several morphological and anatomical modifications to avoid the predators. Now let us see plant modifications. Adaptations in plants. I told you that, like animals, plants cannot avoid predators because they cannot move from one place to another place. For example, if you see, 25% of insects are phytophagous. Okay. 25% of insects are phytophagous. That means they depend upon the plant sap. Then how these plants are avoiding these predators means plants are avoiding predators by developing some morphological, anatomical and chemical adaptations. Morphological, anatomical and chemical adaptations. For example, let us see. Right. In acacia and cuscuta, thorns are present. Thorns are morphological adaptation to prevent the predators. Similarly, Calotropis. This Calotropis can be seen growing in the abandoned areas of land. And this Calotropis develops a chemical called as cardiac glycoside. Cardiac glycoside. This is a very important word. So what is cardiac glycoside? If you see that, we cannot see any grazing animals eating the Calotropis. Why? This cardiac glycoside inhibits the digestion, inhibits the reproductive system, and it also kills. That is the reason why most of the grazing animals avoid the Calotropis. So this is the chemical present in this plant. Similarly, if we see the plants which are secreting nicotine, quinine, tyrosine, opium, and caffeine. All these are commercially imported products for us, right? We are extracting these products from the plants for the commercial purposes only. But actually, the plants are producing these products for their defense. Which type of defense, ma'am? It is the chemical defense against the predators. So, this is about the types of predation and role of predators in the nature. In the next class, we go for the commensalism, mutualism, and amensalism, right? So for today, this class is over and we'll continue in the next class. Thank you very much.